Welcome to Talking Point from the Church's Fellowship for Psychical and Spiritual Studies.
Bulls of Bashan, who are they? Matt Arnold. Matt Arnold is the editor of the Christian Parapsychologist Journal, a publication of the Church's Fellowship for Psychical and Spiritual Studies. He graduated from Cliff College with a distinction-level master's degree in Pioneering Ministries and Fresh Expressions, where his thesis, Paranormal Hauntings and Applications in Deliverance Ministry, a Critical Investigation, won the prize for the best master's thesis. Since then, he has continued his research into the paranormal and the Bible through his book, The Invisible Dimension, and writing articles for various publications, as well as his website, Ghosts, Ghouls and God, ghostsghoulsandgod.co.uk. He is a frequent guest on radio and podcasts, and he lectures across the UK. As we reflect on the crucifixion of Jesus, we may wonder who or what the strong bulls of Bashan, referred to in Psalm 22 verse 12, might be. This psalm, written by David, eerily describes the crucifixion of Jesus and even includes words that he spoke on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me? From the words of my groaning. O my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but find no rest. Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel. In you our ancestors trusted. They trusted, and you delivered them. To you they cried and were saved. In you they trusted and were not put to shame. But I am a worm and not human, scorned by others and despised by the people. All who see me mock at me. They make mouths at me. They shake their heads. Commit your cause to the Lord. Let him deliver. Let him rescue the one in whom he delights. Yet it was you who took me from the womb. You kept me safe on my mother's breast. On you I was cast from my birth, and since my mother bore me, you have been my God. Commit your cause to the Lord. Let him deliver. Let him rescue the one in whom he delights. Yet it was you who took me from the womb. You kept me safe on my mother's breast. On you I was cast from my birth, and since my mother bore me, you have been my God. Do not be far from me, for trouble is near and there is no one to help. Many bulls encircle me, strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open wide their mouths at me, like a ravening and roaring lion. Psalm 22, 1-13, NRSV. In Psalm 22, the bulls of Bashan oppress the anointed one of God. Similarly, in Amos 4:1, the cows of Bashan are highly oppressive toward human life. Are the writers referring to actual bovine animals, or is there a deeper spiritual meaning behind these descriptions? Keep in mind that if something seems strange, it may be significant. So who or what are the strong bulls and cows of Bashan? To understand, we must consider what Bashan meant to the ancient Israelites. Bashan, located east of the River Jordan and the Sea of Galilee, was a beautifully fertile area, filled with lush pastures and vast woodlands that housed high-quality trees suitable for construction. It was also quite mountainous in certain places, including the Golan Heights, as mentioned in 1 Chronicles 6:71, where Mount Hermon could be found. Cosmic geography. Throughout the Old and New Testaments, there is a hidden spiritual battle between two mountains, Hermon and Zion. The land of Bashan is believed to be where deceased and deified kings resided, and it was called the land of the Rephaim. In Psalm 68:15 and 16, Mount Hermon is mentioned in the Old Testament as opposed to Yahweh's holy mountain Zion. In Bashan lived a giant named King Og, Numbers 21:33 and Deuteronomy 3:1-17. He belonged to a group of giants called the Rephaim, which included Goliath, and were believed to result from human fallen angel hybridization recorded in Genesis 6:1-4 and 1, Enoch 1-36, known as the Book of the Watchers. This event is also linked with the dispersal of nations and the fallen sons of God, from the divine council being assigned over them, as seen in Deuteronomy 32:8 and 9, and Psalms 82 and 89. King Og was not just a physically large king, his iron bed measured 13 feet long and 6 feet wide, but also one of the Rephaim. To the gates of Hades. In the 1st century CE, Caesarea Philippi was located at the base of the Mount Hermon range. It was previously known as a cave grotto dedicated to various fertility gods, who were believed to go underground during the winter and resurface during the summer. This cave was called the Gates of Hades, the realm of the dead or the underworld. In Matthew 16, Jesus takes his disciples to this location and declares, "I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it." The word prevail is not an accurate translation, as gates are defensive structures and not offensive weapons. When Jesus and his disciples crossed over Galilee to the eastern shore, as recorded in the story of the Gadarean demoniac, they entered an area ruled by other sons of God, assigned by Yahweh to them as per Deuteronomy 32:8 and 9. These were the strong bulls of Bashan, the sons of God, who were now the gods of the nations in that region. Cows of Bashan. The cows of Bashan was a term used to refer to Sumerian women who were associated with a fertility god in the shape of a bull and were known as Baal's wives. Those interested in delving deeper into this topic can read Amos 4 and John 4 in parallel to uncover their connections. This will reveal what Jesus discussed with the woman of Samaria, who worshipped on Mount Gerizim, and the possibility that Amos prophesied this conversation. Provoking the forces of Hades. After Jesus performed an exorcism on a demon-possessed man in Mark 5:1-20, he was initially rejected from the region. However, he was welcomed upon his return and could travel further into the territory, even to Caesarea Philippi. Here Jesus made a famous statement to Peter about building his church on this rock, Matthew 16:18. Interestingly, they were standing on a rock that was believed to be a gateway to the underworld. At this moment, Jesus revealed a portion of his strategy, and the opposition became aware of it. The sons of God, also known as fallen angels or gods, would not surrender easily in that area. Therefore Jesus slowly revealed to his disciples that he would need to go to Jerusalem, endure suffering and death due to his mission, Matthew 16:21, and advised them to keep his identity a secret for a time. The honey trap. The curiously worded strong bulls of Bashan who surrounded Jesus at the time were the unseen forces of darkness that gathered to ensure his incarnation would end. However, this plan backfired, for as Paul says, "But we speak God's wisdom, secret and hidden, which God decreed before the ages for our glory. None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory." 1 Corinthians 2:7-8, NRSV. Some interpret the rulers, archon in Greek, to refer to the political authorities during that time, but in the context of the Messianic age, it can also mean first in rank or power, such as a chief ruler, magistrate, or prince. This aligns with the idea that the bulls of Bashan represent spiritual princes, who were judged as sons of God and given authority over other nations during that age. These princes were lured into uniting against Jesus, the unique uncreated Son of God, at the site of his crucifixion. This could explain why Jesus mentioned darkness being associated with those who arrested him, Luke 22:53. It is often observed that when evil is present in a location, it appears physically darker, and after the area is cleansed or exorcised, people note how much brighter it becomes. The sting. According to Paul, if they had known that the resurrection was a part of God's hidden mystery since the beginning of time, they would not have taken the actions they did. It was a detrimental mistake, as the cross was used as a honey trap to draw them into their downfall. Paul conveys this message to the Colossians. He disarmed the rulers, Greek archers, and authorities, Greek exousias, and made a public example of them, triumphing over them in it, that is, the crucifixion. Colossians 2:15 NRSV.
You have been listening to Talking Point from the Church's Fellowship for Psychical and Spiritual Studies. To find out more, please visit www.churchesfellowship.co.uk.